Hello everyone! Last week we began our countdown of the top 10 saddest moments in Warcraft. We ended the list at number 6. Desko tragically losing his wife as she was giving birth to the twins, and then losing one of his sons in battle as he was crushed, and the other to the Golden Lotus. All of this took place in the time period of Mr. Pandaria, where we saw War Chief Garrosh Hellscream doing everything in his power to claim the world for the Horde, and any who had the strength to stand with him, they were welcome in his Horde. But some amongst his faction do not believe that this is what the Horde is about. Vol'jin got his throat sliced for speaking out against the actions of the War Chief, but he would return to lead the Darkspear Rebellion, which then flowed into the siege of Orgrimmar. Garrosh was confronted by none other than Thrall himself. He who had given this seat of power, as Thrall, or Goel as he was now called, he left to heal the world with the Cataclysm. Jaina had already asked Thrall to step in and do something about Garrosh, but he had refused. The news of Cairn's death in Mak'gora, by the hands of Garrosh and Magatha Grimtotem, it had saddened the former war chief. But again, he had a duty to fulfill, and he remained with the Earthen Ring. But when Vol'jin sent out adventurers to let Thrall know what Garrosh was doing, seeing with his own eyes how the Echo Isles were under attack by Garrosh's troops, Thrall decided that he could no longer stay on the sidelines, and he stepped in.
You disappoint me, Garrosh.
In Orgrimmar, Garrosh was brought low, but neither the Horde nor the Alliance would end his life. Instead, they placed him on trial in Pandaria, which gave the Bronze Dragon Kairos Dormu the opportunity to break Garrosh out of jail and take him to an alternate reality. The plan was to have Garrosh lead this alternate horde in the defense of a world, but he was not down with being controlled like that, and he murdered the Bronze. He would still have his horde though. The Iron Horde, uncorrupted from the demon blood, not to protect Azeroth, but to get him his vengeance. The dark portal turned red, and Azeroth rallied his forces to fight back, even going as far as stepping through the dark portal into alternate Draenor to take care of the Iron Horde. It's in the Grand, where we find our escaped prisoner, but Garrosh is no pushover.
Now, you die. Garrosh! Thrall! You're too late, old friend. No more, Garrosh. Just you and me. I challenge you to Mak'gora!
Thrall! No!
Very well, Shaman. We finish this alone, where it all began, at the Stones of Prophecy. Must answer for your crimes, Garrosh. All I did it for the Horde! You failed the Horde! You made me War Chief! You left me to pick up your pieces! You failed me! Never had the strength of a true warrior. I do not rely on strength alone, Garrosh. My power is all around you. What I am. No. You chose your own destiny.
There were many who told Frau that Garrosh wasn't ready to be war chief yet. Even Garrosh himself had his doubts, but Frau had faith in the son of Gromash and left him in charge. In countless potential timelines, he was seen as a great hero to his people. Some even called him the Horde's greatest war chief. What we saw was one of his worst possible incarnations. A waste. Now there are many different opinions on why exactly Garrosh turned out the way that he did. But that's not the only reason why this story is so sad. It's not just the waste of Garrosh's potential, it's also the effects on Frau. He feels responsible, and despite the questline being called "And Justice for Frau," the former war chief never wanted any of this to happen. He did what he had to do, and he cleaned up the mess partially of his own making. And this would affect him so deeply that he even lost his ability to properly communicate with the elements. Time will tell if he will ever be able to forgive himself. But the conclusion of the Frau and Garrosh story arc, going back as far as the days of reforming the Horde with Gromash and facing Manoroth together, it's sad but also beautiful. With Garrosh being kicked out of the mantle of War Chief, a new one was needed to lead the Horde, and it was Vol'jin of the Darkspear tribe that stepped up. On the broken shore, the demons found their mark, and he died to their poison. This time, the spirits whispered the name, and the title of War Chief, it was passed on to the Banshee Queen, Sylvanas Windrunner. In order to secure peace for the Horde, she decided that the time had come to wipe out their enemy, the Alliance, once and for all. Together with Saurfang, they made their plans in secret. They would capture the World Tree Teldrassil to splinter the unity amongst the Alliance. They would seek vengeance, of course, but the Horde would have citizens hostage. The Alliance would not dare to strike at the Undercity for fear of their people. It would take them years to muster a fleet to even attempt to do so. There would be infighting amongst their ranks, and if the Alliance does not march as one, each nation would act in its own interests. Each army would return home to protect their lands from the Horde. One single victory would cripple the Alliance for years and destroy them from within. Then they could work to strike peace with the individual nations and carve them away from the Alliance, piece by piece. Now the Night Elf leaders, Malfurion and Tyrande, they were of course powerful and worthy targets to take out. During the campaign, we saw the Banshee Queen face off against the Archdruid, with Saurfang landing a dishonorable blow in his back. Despite having her prey right in front of her, ready for the kill, the Banshee Queen decided to let Saurfang finish the job, a choice that she would definitely come to regret, as it went against the old soldier's honor. He would not do it. This was not the way, so when he returned to the war chief without Malfurion's head, she came up with a different idea. This conquest of Darnassus, it would rattle the Kaldorei people. They would grieve for their lost, fear for their imprisoned, and tremble at the thought of the Horde ransacking their homes. But they would not fall to despair. Not anymore. Malfurion's impossible survival, it would give them hope. Their wound would eventually heal. Even in this dark hour, they would say, Elune still watches over us.
Life is pain. Hope fails. Now you understand. Don't grieve. You'll soon join your loved ones.
I grieve for you. You've made life your enemy. And that is a war you'll never win. You can kill us, but you cannot kill hope.
Can't I? Burn it. Burn it!
Had prepared for an occupation, knew that their stand against the Horde was a last-ditch effort, and had been working hard on evacuating their people from Teldrassil. But they had never expected Sylvanas to give the order to burn it down. Not even adventurers were able to save everyone, with Mia Greymane being the last to be saved by her husband Gen. Could he possibly do more? These people were his friends, and they were facing the worst death he could imagine. The great tree, home to thousands, had been set aflame. They would all be burned alive, knowing that all was lost. Even as he scooped Mia into his arms, Gen paused. Running away had never sat well with him. "We will not leave them," Astari said, gesturing to the other night elves. Gen realized she understood his conflict. The time for rescue, like sands in an hourglass, had run out. She meant that someone would be with the dying, to help them in their last minutes. Gruffly, not knowing what else to say or do, Gen said, "Alone be with you," cradling his beloved wife and the final, tiny night elf refugee. Gen Greymane stepped through the last portal. They named it Finel, the last, for the child would be the last Kaldorite to escape with its life. The priestesses knew what to do. Astari extended her arms to a mother and her young son, who were among the last to enter the temple. "Do not be afraid," she said to the boy, who was mute and trembling. "Come here." With one arm around the mother and the other around her boy, Astari sang to the soaked earth, the last three priestesses of Elune in Teldrassil. They prayed. They did not ask for healing or for rescue. They simply asked for mercy, and their goddess heard them as Astari began to sing. Sleep brushed Astari's mind, feather soft, honey sweet. The pain of it all disappeared, and she let out a sigh. All around her, she heard similar sounds. The fire was relentless. The smoke would kill them, and the flames would devour their flesh and even their bones. Only ash would remain, but they would feel nothing. No pain in the lady's light, in the lady's love. Mother and child both slept, breathing gently despite the smoke. Her duty faithfully discharged, Astari allowed her own eyelids to flutter closed. There will be justice one day, but eyes other than ours will behold it. The last thing she heard was a cracking sound, as she slipped into slumber. The burning of Teldrassil was definitely not what Saurfang had signed up for, had not been part of their plan, but it had happened all the same.
Too many.
Dark memories piled upon all those he already had. When the orcs were liberated by Gromash, they were free from the demonic enslavement, but also free to relive the horrors of all the things they had committed. It was the sounds of the Draenei children that unnerved most of them. "You never forget," he told Garrosh and Northrend, but at least his son had been spared from that misery. Dranosh, like Garrosh, never drank from the demon blood. Saurfang had promised his mother on her deathbed that their son would remain safe and untainted. Before he crossed the dark portal, he had the elders hide Dranosh away so that the orcish warlocks would not find him. So when the dark portal reopened and Thrall met up with Garrosh, father and son also reunited, and Dranosh, he would have the honor of leading their Korkron vanguard into battle at the Wrathgate. But the Lich King is no pushover, and when Dranosh charged into battle, Frostmourne shattered his weapon and claimed his soul. Many more would die that day, as Putress unleashed the plague upon the living and the dead. Harvest the Lich King was forced to retreat, but in his possession now was the soul of Dranosh. The warlocks would not have him, but the Lich King had taken him, twisted and turned into a loyal servant. He was now a Death Knight.
Join me, Father. Join me and we will crush this world in the name of the Scourge, for the glory of the Lich King.
My boy died at the Wrathgate. I am here only to collect his body.
Stubborn and old, what chance do you have? I am stronger and more powerful than you ever were.
We named him Dranosh. It means Heart of Draenor in Orcish. I would not let the warlocks take him. My boy would be safe, hidden away by the elders of Garadar. I made a promise to his mother before she died, that I would cross the dark portal alone. Whether I lived or died, my son would be safe, untainted. Today, I fulfill that promise.
Faced with no other option, High Overlord Saurfang was forced to fight his own boy and end his undead life.
I am released.
You will have a proper ceremony in Nagrand, next to the pyres of your mother and ancestors. Honor young heroes, no matter how dire the battle. Never forsake it.
A lesson that Garrosh once held close to his heart, but he forgot somewhere along the way. A lesson that Sylvanas never learned, as honor means little to the dead. It does mean a lot to Saurfang though, and after the burning of Teldrassil, he realized what he had done, what he had helped to accomplish. Broken, he was ready to find his warrior's death in combat, by facing the Alliance all on his own.
I said go back! Live another day. Go back to your father.
I can't. He's dead. The Horde. It's all we have.
So, you know me. Is that it? What I've seen? What I've done? Oh, give up, boy.
Like you? Live another day.
And so, for this child of the Horde, for all the children of the Horde, Saurfang stood with them during the siege of Lordaeron. Yet once again, the Banshee Queen showed that honor means nothing to her, even taunted him about his son, yet this tale of tragedy is not quite over. His brother Broxigar was also looking for a warrior's death once upon a time, and he found it facing off against the might of Sargeras himself. I have hope that Varrock will find what he's looking for one way or another, but there's no doubt that this old soldier has faced many tragic battles. On the other side, another ongoing story. We have Lady Jaina Proudmoore, a name that has popped up a few times throughout the list. In her lifetime, Jaina found herself shoulder to shoulder with War Chief Thrall and the Horde, saving the world from Archimonde and the Legion. Her faith in Thrall's vision was strong. Peace between the Alliance and Horde was unheard of, but these two leaders, they gave it their all to try and make it work. When her father, Admiral Dalen Proudmoore, showed up in search of his daughter, He did not see Thrall's horde as anything else than the first horde that he had fought against. He did not see anything but the monsters from the Dark Portal, despite his daughter doing everything that she could to make him listen. So it was that she decided to step to the side as the Rexar and the horde they moved into Theramore to end her father's life.
Father, why wouldn't you listen?
Her friends and family, her people of Kul Tiras, most of all her mother back home, they were not too happy with the daughter of the sea. What once was a loving song between daughter and father has now been turned into one to warn the Kul Tirans of her betrayal.
Beware, beware, the daughter of the sea.
Years passed, and many changes came with them. Their vision of peace between the factions, it was shattered, be it by outside sources or threats from within. The bombing of Theramore did not just destroy her city, it also destroyed the peacekeeper that she once was. With Battle for Azeroth, we saw the burning of Teldrassil, and then the siege of Lordaeron, a siege that was saved by the timely arrival of Jaina. Her services are offered to the Alliance once more, and a great thing too, as they will need allies. Old allies, in fact, the Kul Tirans to rejoin the Alliance. Now, despite the history of her father, the song that rings across the Isles, Jaina still sets sail, and she tries to convince her mother to help.
So, my wayward daughter returns to the kingdom she betrayed. Why?
I have come to ask Kul Tiras for aid, on behalf of the Alliance.
The Alliance? Ha! Where were they when we begged for their help? When our husbands and sons and brothers were slaughtered at Theramore?
Do not blame the Alliance for my actions.
So you admit it? You admit that you were responsible for the deaths of our men?
I was. But I will do anything in my power to ease the suffering of Kul Tiras.
Catherine, enforce our laws. The punishment for treason is death.
Do you accept the judgment of your homeland?
I accept your judgment, Mother.
You are no daughter of mine.
Do what you will. She is nothing to me.
Catherine is unwilling to listen and places her daughter's fate in the hands of Lady Ashvane. Our adventures on Kul Tiras will show her the error of her ways as she regrets what she has done. Perhaps there is still time to fix things. As we try to track Jaina down, we discover that she's been taken by Gorak Tul, Lord of the Blighted Lands. The Blighted Lands, a land of death, decay, and nightmares. Horrible visions assault Jaina's mind. Visions of the past, mistakes that still torment her to this very day. Not exactly a stroll in the park, but if this is what Catherine must endure to right what she has wronged, then she will cross that threshold gladly, and of course, we join her. We see Jaina being tormented with the images of Theramore's destruction, stopping Varian from ending the Horde at the battle for the Undercity, and her choices with the Divine Bell in Mista Pandaria. Her mother tries to reach her, tries to save her, until we encounter the image of Jaina's father.
You stood and watched as those animals cut me down. What has your betrayal earned you?
Father, please!
They took your father, betrayed your king, and you did nothing. Will you abandon all your allies to the Horde?
Enough! Show us your true form, monster!
Insolent fools! She is broken beyond your reach! You will be next!
Jaina, is it really you?
There you are.
I did everything wrong.
city must be purged. Jaina?
I'm sorry, Arthas. I can't watch you do this. I should have stopped him. Never would have turned. He'd still be alive.
You have always been naive, my daughter.
Dalen.
I won't let you do it, Father!
I should have tried harder.
You don't understand!
I understand more than you suspect, my dear.
I wasn't strong enough.
Perhaps in time, you will too. Seize them all!
I should have made him listen.
Father! No!
Forgive me. You couldn't save him from himself. I should have made him see his
Do you really think you can cast aside your guilt so easily?
Father, why wouldn't you listen?
Catherine, enforce our laws. The punishment for treason is death.
Do you accept the judgment of your homeland?
I accept your judgment, Mother.
My daughter. Forgive me. Forgive your father. And forgive yourself.
Come topside, sweetheart.
The way that they're able to touch upon nearly every major event in Jaina's story, reflect upon the past events and give it a completely different meaning. When she said that she would accept her mother's judgment, it was not just for her actions towards Kaltiris, but for all of her past, her mistakes and her choices, and her doubts. We see Arthas, Dalen, Uther, Kindi, Varian, Ronin, and so many more in the background, ghosts of the past that are haunting her. And when she tells her mother, "I'll accept your judgment," it is her mother judging her entire life. She got it wrong before, but now Catherine understands and she makes up for it. And together, mother and daughter, they bring Gorakful low. When I asked on Twitter what your saddest moments of Warcraft were, a lot of the times it was something that hit close to home. For example, Runa's the Shamed, losing someone you love to dementia or even addiction. Sourfang, who can imagine what he's been through, a parent losing his child. And in the case of Jaina dealing with her mother, to me that one also hit close to home and is my personal saddest moment. Also being the most beautiful moment in the story of Warcraft so far. That's not to say that is number one on my list though, since like I said, I also asked for you guys and girls input on this one, and the moment that overwhelmingly topped all of this, I don't personally believe it's just about the story, more so about the way that they delivered it, and the way that the cinematic just pulls you in and makes you feel. In Legion, in the lands of Al-Shara, we found Malfurion facing off against Xavius the Nightmare Lord. Originally, we came here to collect the tears of Elune, but we quickly discovered that the corruption of the Emerald Nightmare, it was taking over the land. The threat was so dire that even a wild god, Sonaris himself, Malfurion's teacher, could not hold his ground against it. So the Archdruid, he decided to call upon the Green Dragon aspect Ysera.
Lady Ysera, thank you for answering our call. We face a dire threat.
No need to explain, Malfurion. I have seen what is coming. The Emerald Dream is being overtaken by the Nightmare. The Legion and the Satyr Xavius are to blame. Shaladrasil, the World Tree, has fallen to the Nightmare's corruption and spreads its curse across our precious land. The Nightmare Lord must be vanquished, or Val'Sharah is lost.
For ages, she and the Green Dragonflight, they have guarded the dream. The nightmare is not a new foe to them, and while our adopted son is slowly falling to the nightmare, we will need the Tears of Elune to save him, the same tears for which we originally came to this area. At the Temple of Elune, we're allowed to pick them up, but Xavius is one step ahead of us.
Foolish mortal! The Tears of Elune are mine now. If Malfurion wants them back so badly, he can seek me out. I'll be waiting.
Xavius has already claimed the tears, so we must return to the grove with empty hands, where Cenarius finally gives in.
No! I have wasted too much time here. No more!
The loss of Cenarius to the nightmare is a devastating blow to us all. Though Malfurion's rage is justified, his hatred of Xavius has burned for centuries, and Ysera fears that his blind rage will be used as a weapon against him. His rage is having him make mistakes, so Ysera takes us with her in pursuit of Malfurion, until we finally catch up with Storm Rage and walk right into a trap.
Ah, the Mother of Dreams has arrived at last.
The Tears of Elune are shot into her heart, and the dreamer is taken by the nightmare. Drawn to Whisperwind in search of her husband, she shows up and asks for our aid. She saw him in a vision, enraged and then distressed, and now lost beyond her mind's reach. We eventually find him again, ensnared by Xavius, and Tyrande is given a choice.
Tyrande Whisperwind, I have longed for this encounter for many years. Your adoring husband will be joining me in the nightmare. His was a special invitation. And our dear Ysera, would you believe she's had a change of heart? She will aid me in my conquest of Val'Sharah, starting with your precious Temple of Elune. Such a dilemma, High Priestess. Kneel beside your beloved as he draws his final breath? Or watch the temple of your goddess burn?
Tyrande's heart breaks for Malfurion, but she cannot follow where he goes. She has sworn herself to Elune, to her goddess, to defend her temples and lands with all that she is. She cannot stand by while her order is in danger, so she makes her choice and she rides out to defend the temple. Surely we will find some way to save Ysera, right?
Have you ever loved as I have? Now Xavius has me by the throat. I must abandon my beloved and subdue the most beautiful creature I have ever known. Coda, keep her distracted. Lyanus, mend our wounds. Champion, with me. Are you truly lost, Ysera? After all we have built, all we have done, by the light of Elune, we will end this madness! I will end your torment, Dreamer. And I promise, we will avenge you!
Forgive me. It felt so real.
we have no other choice but to slay the green dragon aspect to release her from the nightmare. Elune herself reaches down and places her spirit amongst the stars, leaving behind the cleansed tears of Elune. There's always something mythical and beautiful when it comes to the dragons, and I don't think that their cinematic department could have done anything better to send her off in a better way. From the music to the visuals, it takes you in, and it gives Ysera the Dreamer, Ysera the Awakened, one final, beautiful, sad farewell. And that will have to conclude my top 10 saddest moments in Warcraft. But I've seen so many more beautiful suggestions that the honorable mention section, it would just be another video. Perhaps we will do something like that in the future. But for now, let me just say thank you very much for sending in your suggestions and watching the video, of course. I hope, despite making you all feel very, very sad, I hope you'll have an amazing week. And until next time, guys. See ya!